I'm going to try a couple different types of crackle techniques, four in all. Uh, One is a two-part crackle technique from a company called Perfetto, Perfetto. One is a gum Arabic. One is a one-step crackle. And the last one is going to be a white glue process. I have 4 pieces of paper. They're all coated in the same acrylic pigment, and we're going to give these a try each. I'm going to start off with the two-part system. So this is a white, very viscous first layer, and I'm just going to take and brush it on. And I'm just going to make sure that I get it on there rather thickly. Try to make sure that I get it somewhat even. And now we wait for it to dry. So this is totally dried now, and it has a nice gloss to it, and I'm going to coat it with 2 different colors. This is the original white that you see, and I took some of that white and mixed it with Terra Rosa to give it a second color. I'm using 2 fresh brushes. I'm going to do the white first, and you don't have a lot of leeway with this. Very quick, very few strokes. There's one. I'm going to turn it around and do the other side with the Terra Rosa. And then you just wait and see how it works out. So I'll come back and show you what it looks like when it gets finished with its cracking process. As you can see in this piece, it crackled rather handsomely, and that is with the 2-part Perfetto crackle medium. The next one I want to try is the white glue method. So I'm going to start off with this same color, same piece of paper, and some plain old everyday Elmer's white glue. Now this method is a little bit different. You don't let anything dry on this method. Everything has to be wet. So it's a wet in wet. I'm going to take a brush and quickly spread this glue out, and it's kind of thick and kind of difficult to spread around, but take your time. Make sure you get a nice coat onto here. And then before it has a chance to dry at all, you want to go over it with your second color. In this case I have a burnt sienna. Again, it's going to be a very quick 1 stroke if possible. Lots of paint. And then we'll allow this to dry and see what happens with the crackle. As I think you can see, the crackle worked out extremely well with the white glue. It has a nice sort of wood grain effect to it. Very impressed with this particular method. Has nice definition. Very good looking piece. The next one I'm going to look at is going to be this one-step crackle medium. It's from Deco Art. This is one of those where the thicker you put it on, the more likely it is to get a good crackle to it. So I am thinking with this one that I might just squirt a big bunch of this on, and then with a soft sponge brush, just lightly spread it around. And I'm not going to cover the entire sheet, I'm just going to cover part of it. Now this one is supposed to dry to a clear finish with a crackle that you can take and fill the cracks with another color. So we'll find out how this works. I have a feeling this one could take quite a while to dry, so when it's dry I'll come back and we'll apply a glaze to it and see what happens. Thank you. The last two techniques I want to look at are a gum arabic crackle and crackle paste. Crackle paste is a new medium on the product, or new product on the market, excuse me. And it is kind of a very light material. The reports say to put it on thickly if you want big cracks, thinly if you want smaller cracks. On this half I'm going to put a moderately thick layer and see how long it takes. It can take up to several days for this to dry. So we're going to try this and see what happens. And on the other half I'm going to use the gum arabic. And again, I'm going to apply a very thick coat of it and allow it to dry. This is the single coat crackle that we were looking at earlier. It is starting to crack, but I have a feeling it's going to be another, maybe another day before we see much of anything going on with that. So I have some gum arabic here in a bowl, and I'm going to apply a very thick layer of the gum arabic and allow it to dry. And we'll take a look at that in a little bit. This is the crackle piece that I started earlier today, and I can see some cracks in the surface. This is the gum arabic on this side, and the crackle paste on this side, and if you look very closely you can see cracks starting to form. I'm going to set this one aside for a minute while I work on this one. I made a very thin wash of burnt sienna and water, and I am going to quickly put it over top of this and then just gently kind of rub away. And I think you can see where the color has worked its way down into the cracks, particularly the predominant cracks. But it's a pretty neat effect. On this other one, now again, this is the gum arabic. I make a slightly thicker wash of color. Now this one you get one shot. You just do one, and that's it. You're done. And you can see the cracks starting to form already. So this is pretty successful. I'm going to come back and show this when it gets dry. In the meantime, I may put a second layer of a wash on this particular one, but that's starting to crack up pretty nice, I think. So overall, I think it's been rather successful. I'll be back in a minute. Well, I went back over this one again with a little bit heavier pigment load, and I think that the cracks read much more vividly than it did in the earlier one. And again, this one is showing some really nice crackling. Now this is the gum arabic, and not to be confused with the white glue or the Profetto. So those are the basic crackle techniques that I'm aware of. I think you can see where this one's going to crackle very nicely. It still has a little way to go yet, but it's still coming along very nicely. If you have any questions, please leave a note. I'll do my best to answer it. Thank you for watching.